Hello, Internet. Come on in and join the NerdChat. So, we're back with Spider-Man and Wolverine, Astonishing Spider-Man Wolverine. So, when we last left off, it's been a couple weeks because we had a few other videos filling in the meantime. But, if you recall, Planet Doom, Dr. Doom put his whole head inside a planet, and he is going to be crashing into Earth or something. He releases a bunch of drones like he's the new Galactus or something. And Spider-Man was going to shoot him with this Phoenix gun, which is the Phoenix Force compressed into a bullet, but it's going to kill anyone who uses it. And Peter's spider sense was really struggling to let him hold the gun, and Wolverine knocks him out. So now where we are. So this begins with Logan walking up to what's left of the Statue of Liberty. The folk that, worship Logan as this, messiah, provided him with the sacred liquid he taught them to make at the dawn of time. Logan thinks about life, his life. He's fought in many wars, he's bled on every continent, he's been to the moon, he's made love to more women than he can count, he's killed more people than he could count in a day. He's been a soldier, a samurai, an assassin, an avenger, and he's traveled through time. He's saved the world, and he even invented beer. In other words, he's done it all. As he drinks from the chalice, he tells the kid it was a fine IPA. He wipes his mouth and thinks he's had enough adventure for 10 lifetimes. And he continues walking forward. He thinks, so why is it as he's walking to his death, why does he keep thinking, where did all the time go? He spent his whole life rushing from one fight to the next. And now, at the end, he's just wishing that everything could slow down. He wants to take a moment to take it all in. The beauty of the world, the beauty of being alive, but he can't. He has to die the way he lived, like he's seen it all before. As he stands on the torch of the Statue of Liberty, he thinks he may be tougher to kill than most, but he's never had any, delusions of being immortal. He always knew that his time would come someday, whether it be just some person got lucky and managed to figure out a way to kill him, or just maybe his healing stopped working one day. Who knows? But he always knew that he was going to die. And he's imagined it 1,000 different ways, each one more painful than the last. But getting ripped apart by a Phoenix gun that blows up planets never crossed his mind. But I suppose it's not so bad. He looks up, takes aim. But we cut to Spider-Man. As he wakes up, realizing what happens, he rushes to Logan, trying to get there as fast as he can. He nearly makes it to Logan, and Logan hears his voice, and he begrudgingly thinks that the last thing he wanted to hear, that his last thing that he would hear was Parker. He fires the gun, tearing himself apart as Peter screams out no. Planet Doom is destroyed. The gun works exactly like it was supposed to, but Spider-Man looks over the remains of Wolverine, telling Logan he's sorry that this had to happen. As Logan's followers celebrate the sacrifice he made, the sacrifice of their Messiah to save them all, and drink in his name, Peter works tirelessly for weeks, months, it's hard to tell, but it's enough for him to grow a very bushy beard. So, basically what Peter's trying to do, he's trying to fix the Cosmic Cube. He went through all these doomsday weapons they had before, and he thinks the Cosmic Cube is his best bet. But we also get to see things from Logan's perspective. He's falling through this abyss, and he's wondering if this is what death is. He looks younger. He's thinking that he must be alone, and this is probably what he deserves, to be cold and alone in the dark for all the things he's done, all the sins he's responsible for. But someone calls his name, and not his name Logan. They called him James. A hand reaches out to him, and it's his mother's hand. But on Peter's side of things, the cube is starting to glow. Peter could wish for anything: end world hunger, make everyone laugh at his jokes, take away J. Jonah Jameson's ability to speak, bring back Uncle Ben. But he looks at the bucket of Logan's remains. Wolverine is reaching out to his mother. He's feeling at peace. It's all he's ever wanted. But Peter wishes to bring Logan back. And as Logan's hand passes through his mother's, the bucket glows, and a butt-naked Wolverine comes out, the smoke screaming, and starts attacking Peter for taking his peace away from him. Logan is pissed. he's like, he was about to finally be at peace. He's about to finally be with his mom. The thing that these are things that he's wanted his whole life. He's been looking for this, especially ever since he's lost his memories, is peace in any form or way that he could take it, but he's never had it. So Spider-Man says a simple thank you would suffice, but Logan just keeps screaming at Peter. He's like, he was happy, he was fine, he was at peace, and Peter ripped it all away. And Peter says all he did was save his life. So Logan says he was dead. He didn't save anything. He brought him back just to make, Peter himself feel better. So Peter says, well, he could have just left him as a bucket of stew. And as they leap at each other, time stops. They're frozen in place, and these bedazzled dudes that we saw before, they're off to the side. And one of them says, like, well, we can't let these two kill each other. The boss got really mad the last time when the hairy one died. The other one sighs, saying, well, it would have been a good fight, but it's time to separate them. So they walk forward, and one of them asks, like, all right, well, where are we going to send him? And the bigger dude just, brings his bat back and says, well, I think I'll let the stick decide. And he just smacks him with the bedazzled bat. So Logan, he wakes up behind stage as someone is putting a wrestling mask on him and shoving him out of a curtain. And Spider-Man wakes up in the snow, covered in meat. But Logan, he looks up to see the amazing Spider-Man, undefeated wrestling champion. And Peter looks up to see a very young Wolverine with bone claws hunting with wolves. And that is how issue 3 ends. So this one was really interesting for the reason of you get a really deep dive into the psyche of Wolverine. Seeing what a Wolverine who knows he's about to die has to make peace with it, and what Logan thinks about in his final moments. What kind of man was he? What kind of things does he regret, if anything? Or what? It's interesting as someone who I've certainly grown up with the X-Men. Well, I haven't read a ton of X-Men comics. I've read my fair share. I've watched the cartoons. I've known a lot of Wolverine for a long time, and seeing this Wolverine reflecting, making the sacrifice for Peter, it's really moving. I know I typically try to make a lighter spin on these comics I cover and make jokes out of them, but this one was a hard one to do that. It was a really impactful. There are dogs barking downstairs. This was a really impactful comic just in itself. So I recommend. I always recommend that you guys go and buy these wherever you want to get it, whether it's your local comic book shop, you buy it online, whatever. But these comics, I can't cover everything when I talk about them. But this one was what really made this one for me. This whole story. As it goes forward, it gets a lot more interesting because they're separated. While they're still with each other, they're with younger versions of each other. So we have this, young Wolverine who doesn't even know what the word Wolverine means yet, dealing with Spider-Man who knows what Logan turns into. And then vice versa, we have this, Wolverine who knows what Peter is about to be going through. This is a Peter Parker whose Uncle Ben hasn't died yet. He hasn't learned with great power comes great responsibility. So they have a lot of journey to go through yet. So there's 3 more issues. I think this is a 6-issue comic. So I hope that you guys stick around. I hope that you like, comment, subscribe, all that YouTube stuff. You've been around the website a few times. Other stuff, just if you haven't checked out the Court of Owls podcast, I was on it a few weeks ago. The last video I did, Joe from there was on it. I think I'm going to have another one of them, I think maybe Muse on next week. And then we're going to be covering some Captain America stuff, and then we'll be back to Spider-Man Wolverine again after that. So I'm going to be alternating a little bit with some Golden Age stuff to kind of help my schedule a little bit and fluctuate my writing patterns to help me get through these scripts a little better. Also, follow me on Twitch, JediJosh_NC, and follow me on or join my Discord and talk to me directly and game with me, talk comics, whatever. Oh God, hiccups. But yeah, I'm going to wrap it up there. So thank you all for hanging out with me today, and I hope to see you soon, whether it's in Discord here or on my Twitch. So I'll check you all out and or talk to you all later. Goodbye.